Then New Jersey, so that was federal, now something that's New Jersey specific. I'm gonna have to mention two regulations. Okay, one, we have the Attorney General's office, which created this long memo to all property owners. It's residential property owners. And the Attorney General's office created this whole discussion on, hey, we have a New Jersey law against discrimination. Those are some of the things you need to pay attention to. And it went, in the last iteration, it went into great length on the Fair Chance in Housing Act because it's the last 2 pages of the Attorney General memorandum. And in the last version of this, that goes back to December of 2021, they've also added room for the first time for people to sign that they received this, okay? So this is a document that is created by the Attorney General's office. Then your licensing requirements step in. And as a real estate licensee, I am required to provide this memo to everyone that I list a property with for rent or for sale. That's a license law requirement. Questions on that? Now I'm also going to say, besides just handing the piece of paper to the sellers and landlords when you are listing that property, you might want to seriously think about having a little bit of a conversation with what's in that document. Why? Well, who's likely to discriminate? A seller or a landlord? Can I be involved with that transaction if the seller or landlord discriminates? No, because you're going to be guilty by association, so you don't want to be involved. Do we have out there in the marketplace people that are dead set on having strong opinions?
Yes.
Yes. I would rather find this out when I list the property than when we review multiple offers or when they get a lease application and I'm realizing I need to terminate that listing. Would you agree with me on that? Well, one way to sort of check this out is to spend a few minutes with this Attorney General memorandum with your sellers or landlords before they sign your listing agreement. All right, so there is a lot of things. Some of you have been in the business for a very long time, right? So this Attorney General memorandum has been around for as long as I've been licensed. But when I first started, shouldn't tell you that it was pressed hard on the 4 copies of the listing agreement. I am kind of dating myself on this one, okay? But the back of the listing agreement had the Attorney General memorandum. It was fitting nicely on 1 sheet of paper. Okay, it was a legal size, but it was fitting nicely on 1 sheet of paper. We can't put it on a legal size anymore these days, okay? So it will be a separate document tied to what you have signature requirements out there. So you're gonna have to bring up those 2 documents when you sign the listing agreement, and you do want to spend the time. So what have they added over time? Well, they've added paragraphs to sort of clarify some of the protected classes that they run into issues on a regular basis, and that's what's increased the length of the Attorney General memorandum over the years. There is a paragraph on source of income, there's a paragraph on sexual harassment, there is a paragraph on animal and disability. We will spend some time addressing all those protected classes in a little bit, but again, an opportunity for you to have conversations with your prospect, with your future client. There's a paragraph about inquiring on, and please note, again, we will discuss it further when we go over protected classes, but it is citizenship, it is immigration status, okay? It is immigration status, that is specifically listed in our state law, okay? There is a paragraph on blanket policies on criminal conviction, and then addressing the concept of disparate impact. Probably a paragraph that at this point may be a little redundant because it was published before the New Jersey Fair Chance in Housing Act. It is now further enhanced by the New Jersey the New Jersey Fair Chance in Housing Act. But the concept of disparate impact is important, and that's something that's been recognized by the courts. We may have a long list of protected classes, but any arbitrary decision which directly or indirectly impacts a protected class is discriminatory. So criminal conviction was the first example of this. There are other situations, but the idea, why having an arbitrary requirement on criminal conviction is considered disparate impact? Because statistically show that the rate of conviction is significantly impacted by your race. How people get convicted, how quickly, how strongly people get convicted has been demonstrated to be tied to your racial background. So by having an arbitrary requirement based on criminal conviction, indirectly it's a racial impact, which means it is discriminatory. That's the concept of disparate impact. Any questions on that? And we'll come back to criminal conviction because since then we've elaborated on that, which is the whole end of the Attorney General memorandum, the Fair Chance in Housing Act. It takes about 2 pages because it really details what's in the Fair Chance in Housing Act and what does it say overall. No landlord has the right to have an arbitrary, no criminal conviction allowed for a tenant. It has to be something that is reviewed, first of all, after you propose a lease to that tenant. So no landlord is allowed to do a criminal background check on a tenant before they extended a conditional lease to that tenant. So the old way of doing your screening, do tenant screening, which was doing the financial and the criminal at the same time, is not possible in New Jersey. It is a violation of the Fair Chance in Housing Act. You need to do your financial research first. You check the tenant out on whatever your process is to check your tenant out. When you've done this, you propose a lease to the tenant. That lease is contingent on the result of a criminal background check. When that criminal background check comes back, there are only very specific convictions that allow you to deny that lease. And those are listed in the Attorney General memorandum. Since I know that you do a lot of rentals in this market, are you all familiar with this? I see a lot of puzzled faces. Can you tell me why you're quiet here? Now, there's one thing that I did not say. Is a landlord ever required to care about criminal background? As a landlord, can I say this is not part of my selection process? Absolutely. So if I am a landlord and I'm gonna say somebody's criminal background, I am really not concerned about it, it is not part of my selection process, I don't have to worry about any of this. Agreed? It is only if you are going to make somebody's criminal background part of your selection process that you're gonna have to make sure that you follow the rule properly.
I think we're all looking at you a little bit funny because most of us, if we do rentals, which Lord knows I do not, thank God. We do like week-long or 3-day, I mean, we're doing short-term rentals.
Yeah, so for the short-term rentals, your qualification is extremely different. And you're not gonna worry about that, which means the New Jersey Fair Chance in Housing Act does not come into play. Okay, absolutely right. Okay. But you have to be doing some long-term rentals too. No? Yeah, no, not really.
Usually they're separate departments. I mean, most of the brokers down here, your sales are separate from your rental departments. Yeah. Like 90% of them are they are.
So the real estate offices that are doing sales are different than the real estate offices that are doing property management, and none of you are involved in that property management. Right.
Plus, there's very few long-term rentals
Available.
That's actually a problem.
And then the market is not a market where there are a lot of long-term rentals. Okay, well that simplifies the whole conversation.
Yeah, that's why we're
Okay, well that explains that. Okay, it is rare that I run into an area where long-term leases some part of your real estate business, right? So, you're just primarily short-term rental. All right, well, I get set straight. Thank you very much for that. All right, any other questions on that Fair Chance in Housing Act then, that you're not so concerned about? Oh, the one other thing, for some reason, if you are part of that, if you are ever have to do that short-term rental on, you know, not as part of your regular business, no one can charge an application fee for rental without disclosing to the tenant that that will be part of the process. The tenant has the right to have a heads up, oh, by the way, I may not do it now, but I will be doing it in the future, so hopefully that makes sense. Alright. And there's been plenty of enforcement. The Division of Civil Rights and the Attorney General's Office kind of left us alone for about a year after they passed the New Jersey Fair Chance in Housing Act, and then they started enforcing this heavily, okay? And the signature part. Any problem getting the signatures from your sellers landlords? They're all good with that?